Is this thing on? Is this thing on? Oh, good morning, everyone. Good morning. If anyone is still in the lobby and you can hear my voice, please find your way in, because we're going to play a little trivia again. Majority rules. Not quite trivia, but majority rules. ccg.buzz. Hurry up and log into ccg.buzz. We're going to have a little fun. How many of you know what today is? Today is, of course, the Lord's Day. It's a special day. We're here gathered together, and we want to honor God first and foremost, so we put Him first in everything. And then later on tonight, there's something going on. I don't know what's something going on. Anyone know what's going on tomorrow? Tonight, I mean? Huh? Super what? Super Bowl. Wow, I forgot that that's today. I know the team that should be there, but is not there. But I'll leave that alone. I'll cry myself at sleep at night, all by myself. At least we have an MVP. We have an MVP for the first time, but no Super Bowl ring. Maybe in the future, but I'll digress on that point. Are you guys logged into ccg.buzz? Because what I'm talking about is related to today. We're going to talk about some Super Bowl trivia, y'all. Isn't that fun? I know all the ladies are like, yeah. No, probably some of the ladies are like, okay, I know some of the stuff. We'll see how much you will know. Some of the guys are like, I know all this inside and out. Maybe you do, maybe you don't. I don't come up with the questions. I just MC them. All right, are you guys all ready? Can I see a show of hands? Who's logged in, ready to go? Are you ready to go? Oh, your Android is off. All right, so let's get it started this morning. Let's see if we can bring it up from the production team. Thank you. All right, majority rules. Let's see, the first question. Was that an actual question? Who wins tonight? Okay, that's an actual question. All right. Chiefs. Hey, we're not the only one that thinks they're thieves. The referees, you know, or the Eagles. While you guys are voting, I'll digress on the thieves part. A lot of conspiracies out there, you know, referees. A lot of video evidence. The Eagles, I'm voting with you, yes. Let's go Eagles, fly high. Let's go Philly. My wife is originally from Philly area, and I will root for the Phillies anytime. Plus, I lived there for 2 years. So let's go question number 2. Majority rules. Would you rather watch the game in person or at home? I'm kind of torn between this one. I always thought about the Super Bowl, but you know, I'd rather spend $10,000 on one ticket and going on a vacation somewhere 10 times instead of the one Super Bowl trip, and just watch it comfortably at home with the friends and at home. You guys are with me, yes. You guys are the Frozen Chosen. Stay in your house, Frozen Chosen. All right, Pele, Super Bowl just I know who that is. I heard it in the lobby. Joey Chestnuts. All right, are you watching the game, or are you doing anything else? It's up to you guys to vote. I have no plans for tonight. I don't want to say I'm bitter, I'm just disappointed, and I have no plans, but I will see what the day takes, if I watch it or not, but we'll see what you guys are voting. Watching the game, 89%. Yeah, well, it's an event, even if you don't like the Chiefs. It's still a game. Mrs. LaFavra is a number 4. Mimo, why is that guy on number 2? Somebody, Pele, beat him. Pele, is that you, Pele? All right, Pele's my man. All right, next question. What is real football? Is it oval-shaped pigskin, or is it a spherical ball with multiple polygons? I know what I would vote for, since I tend to play football my whole life since I was like 5, and we have a Manchester City fans over here. Football, you kick the ball with your foot. I don't know, common sense. But let's see what you guys vote for. Yes, it is, because you kick the ball with your foot. It makes the most sense. We should call this like body crunch ball or something, because it breaks your body apart. Why is he? Somebody take him out. Take him down, please. Is it Battle Royale already? Oh no. Favorite part of the Super Bowl? Please don't let Joey Chestnuts be in there. The game, or is it the commercials? Wow. I'm kind of split between this one, but mostly the game for me, but I don't know what you guys are going to vote for. The commercials are pretty funny, very expensive. You have a cool 4 or 5 million, you can get a 30-second spot. Commercial, 78%. Steve, you should get a spot in the Super Bowl, bro. Get a spot in the Super Bowl. Skinner Real Estate. No, is that it? Don't tell me that's the last question. Oh, okay. Oh, you scared me. I thought it was going to be, oh, wow, that was a close one. It was almost like a nightmare. Just kidding, Joey Chestnuts. Battle Royale. So this is the finals. The finals. All right. Your favorite Super Bowl party food. Is it chicken wings, pizza, celery from the chicken wings, or pizza? Wait, is it pizza twice on purpose? It says pizza twice on purpose. Maybe it's different types of pizza. Whoever wins, I bet pizza might win. Pizza might win. Is it pizza? It's the chicken wings. Chicken wings is a winner. Chicken wing dinner. Is that the last question? One more. There's one more. Pele, one more question? All right, we got one more question for Pele to take it home. If you do, I'll give you a big fist bump. Please take it home, Pele. Who do you want to see more of? Patrick Mahomes? No. Travis Kelce and his girlfriend, Jalen Hurts or Taylor Swift? Oh, please. Please, no more Swift. Please, I had enough. At Wegmans, there's like 20 magazines of Swift. On TV, nothing but Swift. I had enough. Please, somebody vote Swift out. Oh, who wants to see? Oh, all the girls are Swifties? Oh no! Why? Et tu, Joey? Et tu? Here we keep going.
There are too many Swifties in this crowd. Way too many.
Definitely way too many.
And she's not even playing. They're not engaged. They're not married. Like, she's just there.
So I have a little question for the 4% that said the best Super Bowl snack is celery from the buffalo. You guys need special prayer. So the 4% at the end of the gathering, we have a prayer corner over there. Feel free. We'll definitely pray for you on that.
Maybe they're still sticking to those New Year's resolutions. I don't know.
Maybe.
So
since it's Super Bowl Sunday, I was planning on wearing my favorite team, which is the Bears. But they haven't been doing
Raiders?
too well.
Who's that?
The Chicago Bears? The Bears.
No.
Wow. See, that's why I didn't wear it. But besides the Bears, there's other teams. That never stopped Joey from wearing his Jet stuff. I mean, they've been bad since what, 1969? Yeah.
He was actually told not to wear that this morning. He doesn't follow rules well.
No, he doesn't. But honestly, one thing I can say about Joey and myself is that at least our teams did win one Super Bowl. Just saying, Bills fans.
They haven't won any?
No.
Oh, that's why he's still drowning in his tears. Okay.
Yes.
Makes sense. Good morning, everyone. How are we?
Morning.
Woo! Here at Forward Point, we are a community of faith, hope, and love, helping people find their purpose. Because we believe you were created on for a purpose. And we want to be part of that story any way we can.
Absolutely. And if you're new here to Forward Point, this is your very first time, we want to give you a special welcome and thank you for joining us this morning. We hope that you're able to get a special gift, some banana nut bread and a little package in there as a welcome and a thank you for joining us. If you haven't, it's quite all right. At some point before you leave today, right out these doors, there's a welcome center. There's somebody that can give that to you, answer any questions that you have. Some things to expect over the next 75 minutes or so. It's really not going to be a right way or wrong way to join in with us. Stand, sit, drink some coffee, some water, some of that banana nut bread that when you do pick it up. We're just so happy that you're joining us this morning.
Again, if this is your first, second time, you're a guest with us this morning, please pull out your cell phones and text the word welcome to 315-883-2213. That will allow us to get a little more information from you on our digital connection card, send you a gift in the mail. So please do that. Also, while you have your phone out, feel free to check in here, share a like on social media, follow us on Instagram, Facebook, all of those good things, so that you can encourage your friends and your family to join you on a Sunday morning. We have another place we'd like you to go to, the App Store, Google, Apple now that I have one, and download the Church Center app. That will get you to all of our events, our life groups, all of the good going ons here at Forward Point.
Absolutely. And besides the people who eat celery at the Super Bowl, we'll be praying for you to go back to Android as well.
I can't. I was told I can't. I'd be excommunicated.
So
Yeah.
it's that moment. Where are the children at? It's time to release the kids to go upstairs.
Bye, children. They're getting ready to take you up, take you to your leader.
Absolutely.
And we're going to continue with our gathering. Thank you so much.
Good morning, Forward Point. How's everybody doing this morning? Yes, it's so great to see all of you here this morning. You braved the weather, the snow this morning. I was working at Love Handles last night closing, and it started snowing, and it was coming down fast. And I was like, we might have a snow day tomorrow because of all the snow. But you guys get special stars on your attendance record for braving it this morning and shoveling and doing whatever you had to do to be here this morning. I've been telling a lot of people lately, it feels like this winter has kind of been one of those rude awakening winters, right? The past few winters, we've had some pretty easygoing winters, and this one, I'm like, oh yeah, this is what Syracuse, living in Syracuse is all about. This last week, we had a snow day on Thursday, and as has become kind of the tradition when everyone is home on days off for snow days, the Doyle clan got around the TV and played some Mario Party. Now, if you're not a gamer, if you're not familiar with Nintendo Switch or Nintendo in general, Mario Party is a game where it's like these bunch of mini games and you're on a board and you're trying to be the one who has the most stars by the end of it. We got it as a family gift over Christmas because it's going to be something that we can all play together. It's not something that we allow anybody to play by themselves. We all have to play at least with another person, but more often than not, we play with 4 of our family members all at the same time, having a great time. Now, it started off when we first started playing is that Dad was like the public enemy number 1, right? Dad was the best at all the mini games. Dad's got a natural ability when it comes to video games, right? Of all the things that I could brag about, it feels kind of sad to say video games is one of the things on the list. However, that's how it started off. And inevitably, all of my kids all teamed up against me. They would all cheat, they would all conspire, they all go to steal my coins, steal my stars, and I would never win. And progressively, since having started playing this as a family, all of my kids now have progressively gotten better and better. Especially Chazare. Chazare is our 3rd child. She is 9 years old. She's going to be 10. She's 9 years old, and she has become, I don't know if she wakes up in the middle of the night and go downstairs and like practices on her own, but here is this little 9-year-old who just takes the rest of us to town. She's awesome at the mini games. She's got this crazy strategy, and it's just become kind of weirder and weirder to watch as all these new things in the game are now present because she racks up so many points. She invests so much. If you're not familiar with games these days, like they keep you entangled in these games by every once in a while after you've reached certain achievements as they release new things to you, like characters or bonus stages or different things where it's like the game was starting to get boring, but then all of a sudden you get this new mini game that you get to play, or you get this new board you get to play on. And now we got this new board that just opened up this last week, and it becomes like, nobody's allowed to play it by themselves. We got to all play at the same time, so we all get to experience it. And Chazare has become this just kingpin of Mario Party at the Doyle household. But it kind of, reminding me that that is the way video games work now, right? We talked about last week how Mario, came out in like 1985, and since then there's been 200 plus different games or movies that have come out as a part of this franchise that are just always kind of reviving the character of Mario, right? Now, if you are familiar with the term revive, it's kind of this idea of bringing back life or something that was dead or dying, kind of breathing new life into it. And I found this graphic online, Google. These are the different characters of Mario over the years, right? Some of us remember, my first experience with Nintendo and Mario was this guy here. I thought at the time this guy was the coolest thing, right? I remember getting it for my parents, and I thought I was the coolest kid on the block. However, I feel like my favorite Mario games of all time, Super Mario Brothers 3 and Super Nintendo Super Mario World. Anybody play those? Those are my favorite Marios. G-Pop, both of the Popoviches are big fans up there. J-Pop and G-Pop. After the NES one, then they came out with this Mario 64 one, right? I was not a fan of Mario 64. It was the first time that Mario went from 2D to 3D. All of a sudden, you could see move all sorts of different directions and views. And once that came out, I kind of lost interest and never played again. And now they got Mario dressed up as a squirrel, a flying squirrel. It seems kind of odd. But you see, every few years, they come out with some kind of new iteration of the character Mario, because the previous one that they were on kind of starts to get old or boring. You start to get familiar with it, and people start putting down their controllers because it's just like, I've been there, done that. And they revive the character over and over again for the sake of keeping people's attention, for the sake of drawing more and more money out of you. And this goes way beyond even video games. We're all familiar with remakes of movies, right? Like, who in the world thought that we needed a new Lion King or a new Little Mermaid or a new, all Cinderella that's supposed to come out, right? And the Seven Dwarfs and all these remakes, and you just kind of think, don't they have any more ideas in Hollywood or Disney where they could come out with some original content, right? But there's something about nostalgia, right? That you see something that maybe you grew up with as a kid and you think, oh, this is going to be awesome. Do I have any Cobra Kai fans that are here this morning, right? Yeah, Cobra Kai, kind of came out of nowhere. This series at first was on Google, and then Netflix bought the rights to it. And I'll be honest with you, the acting, the storyline of Cobra Kai, not very good, right? It's like, these guys were paid under the table to be these different parts and whatnot. But the thing that kind of made it so interesting is they would have all these flashbacks to the original Karate Kid movies, right? And you get that feeling of like, wow, I remember watching those as a kid. And they inject them every so often into the series, and you get filled with this nostalgia, and you just want to watch more of it for the next scene that you're going to see from what you remember watching over and over as a kid, right? It's an instance of something that is becoming popular or active or important again, that maybe you grew up with or saw when you were younger, or it's a new production of an old play or some kind of similar work, right? We have things like Mission Impossible, right? Tom Cruise came in, and there's this franchise now of all these movies that were an original TV show. When I was up, it was showing reruns when I was a kid, and so that goes to tell you how old it was. They came out with a movie for the A-Team. Again, it's another TV show that was on reruns when I was a kid, and you have all these live-action remakes, right? Just think of, Jurassic Park. How many different Jurassic Parks can there be? It's like anything with dinosaurs that goes on forever, right? Who remembers Land Before Time as a kid, right? This little dinosaur. Yeah, and then it became Land Before Time, 14 and 15. It's just like this never-ending series because they keep trying to breathe new life into it, right? Reviving this series with a intent to try to make more money. Well, we started this series Leveling Up last week talking about this idea that, what got you to where you are in life today, and in your spiritual walk, will not get you to where you are called. Right? There's all sorts of things that have happened in your life that have gotten you to the place where you are at, and those things may have been hard, those things may have been tough. You may have done a lot of work to get where you are at this point in your life. But what got you to where you are is not going to be what gets you to where God has called you, because God is always calling us to another level, to go deeper in our spiritual walk with him. And we kind of laid out, what is the overarching game plan strategy that we have here at Forward Point. We have a little bit of a strategy. I know that may come as a surprise to you, given how maybe we do things week to week or month to month, but this kind of is a big picture strategy of how we do things here at Forward Point, right? We have all sorts of things where we're trying to reach out to the community, right? We start off, all of us at some point, is just being somebody in our community that could possibly be here at Forward Point. And the more into the center you go, the more you're diving into your spiritual growth in life. It just happens to be here at Forward Point, right? And what happens is we start out super invitational, right? These things that we do for the community, man, we're doing things for the community that just to love on the community. There's no expectation that they say a prayer or that they come to a Sunday morning. We're just doing whatever we can to tell the community that we love them. We're doing whatever we can to meet needs in the community, just a practical hands and feet of Jesus. Super high invitation. It's super important. It's one of the things that Jesus did. Jesus was constantly feeding people without any kind of expectation of, if you're going to take that bread, then I'm going to need to make sure I see you at the synagogue on Sunday, right? That wasn't how he rolled. He just was feeding people because people were hungry at times. So he acted out in this super invitational way. Now, as you go deeper into this, you go from just being someone who's in our community to maybe part of the crowd that comes here occasionally on a Sunday morning, to becoming part of our congregation where you're like, man, I'm there every week, to then you become committed where you start saying, I want to serve, I want to get involved and do things, to then eventually you come part of this core where now you're leading ministries, right? God made you with a specific shape and design, and what we've said here at Forward Point is we want to be part of just the support system to help you be the shape that God has created you to be, to eventually lead the ministry that he's placed on your heart to do in the world, your purpose. That's why we say all the time, we believe that you were created on purpose, for a purpose. But something very strange happens in this process, right? The deeper you get into the center, the invitation goes down and the challenge goes up. It's kind of this perfectly, the deeper you go, it's less about it feeling good and becomes more about God doing a work inside of you. We've designed our Sunday mornings to kind of be this balance of super high invitation, but also challenging. We believe that people who are fresh off of the street, who are maybe unchurched, de-churched, that they would come on a Sunday morning and they would feel welcome. They would feel like they belong. But we also design it where people who've been a part of maybe a faith background for years of their life, where they also would be challenged. Because we talked about last week how Peter said, my goal, the times are short, the days are important. My goal is to stir people up, is to kind of poke and to prod, to afflict the comforted. So they're here on a Sunday morning. This is not what we believe is the ultimate end, that we just got to get people here on a Sunday morning. We believe this is part of a much bigger process. Our community, our Sunday mornings, our life groups, our outreaches, all of these are part of a bigger plan to help you take next levels and to grow in your spirituality. So this is an even balance. But from here, if you decide, man, I'm going to go deeper in my spirituality, what you have to realize is that it becomes less and less about you and you feeling good and you even liking the process or liking what's going on, but choosing to do it because you want to level up, because you want to go deeper in your spirituality. The invitation goes down and the challenge comes up. And something cool happens that when you get to this core place and you said, man, I'm going to start leading something, you then begin to go back to the outside and start leading things into the community to just be a blessing to our community. So that's where we started off last week. And today we're going to be kind of continue on with this idea of what does it look like to level up in our faith. Today is kind of the, Super Bowl of football, the ultimate world championship, they call it. And if you asked me as a young person going to Bible school and saying that I wanted to go into ministry, there was a word that we would use that kind of described the Super Bowl of faith. And it's this word called revival. It gets the same roots from the, revive that we've been talking about, kind of this idea, what does it look like to breathe new life into something? What does it look like to take something that was dead or that's old and to make it popular again, or to somehow bring it back to make it interesting once again? And Syracuse has got some pretty cool history when it comes to things that have been deemed revivals. I don't know if you know this, but Billy Graham has actually been in Syracuse not just once, but twice. He came in the 50s, and he did a week long at the War Memorial where he was there and preached for an entire week. And then in the 80s, he came to the Dome. And if you can believe this, he was actually at the Dome for a period of about a week doing different meetings. And they estimate that somewhere over the course of the week that there was tens of thousands of people that had come through the Dome to hear Billy Graham speak. And inevitably, Billy Graham kind of had his formula that he did for things. There was music, and you had George Beverly Shea, if you're familiar with it, kind of that baritone voice would sing, and he would give a message. And usually, there'd be some kind of altar call where people from all over the building would come and go to the stage and participate in some kind of what they would call an altar call. It was this kind of moment in their life where they were responding to what they heard Billy Graham say, to a point where they said, you know what, I want to take this next step. And afterwards, looking back, a lot of times people would use the word revival to describe that instance. More recent history, we've been hearing maybe on the news like you have, different college campuses that they've been calling, these little revivals have been breaking out where college students are getting together and they're just wanting to be baptized, and the news is breaking out and it kind of goes viral, these different video footage of people just deciding to get baptized in the back of trucks or in campus ponds, different things like that. And we dub them, revival at Ohio State, and these different events that are happening. We use this word revival. There's been some college campuses where people have just been, singing and for days going on, and people would then flock to this location to just be a part of what was being called the revival. And in Christian faith, we kind of throw this word around because for us, it's like, man, we want so bad, I think, to be right and to be winning, that we're kind of willing to throw this word revival around wherever we can and hope that it fits. Because the interesting thing is, man, whatever you are looking for, you're going to find. Right? If you're kind of in a mindset as, I am being in ministry for much of my life and kind of wanting to get to the Super Bowl of ministry and a part of leading some kind of revival, then you begin to see revival wherever you look. It's much like, how many times have you gone to the car dealership to buy a car and you look at this car and you think, man, this is a one-of-a-kind car. Nobody has this car. I haven't seen this car around. And then you buy it, and all you can think about is your brand new car, right? And then what happens? All of a sudden, you see that car everywhere, right? Because it's on your mind. You think you are the coolest, hippest, raddest for buying this one-of-a-kind, never-before-seen in history car. And then all of a sudden, everybody's got the car. Everybody's driving. Everywhere you turn, there is that car. Because whatever is on your mind, whatever you are looking for, whatever you are thinking about, you are going to find. And in our culture today, there's a lot of Christians who are just looking for revival. Kind of willing to put the word on whatever they can without thinking much about what that really means. Right? The idea and phrase of revival isn't really even much of a biblical word that we see in terms of how we use it in our culture today. And so here I am as a young 42-year-old pastor, and I'm starting to feel like more and more with each passing year, like Clint Eastwood on the front of his porch holding a shotgun and telling kids to get off his lawn. Like, I used to be in youth ministry for many years, and I was cool and hip and fun and doing all-nighters, and now I'm like, man, that is boring. I can't stand middle schoolers. They smell, they stink, they're crazy, they're wild, they don't make sense when they talk. What is going on with me, right? But during this kind of transition in my life, and you probably have experienced this having to hear me on a pretty regular basis, like I look at now the things that I kind of just took for granted or accepted as reality, and I'm beginning to think, man, maybe we don't have quite the full grasp on our faith as we think we do. Right? To be so cavalier with the term revival and kind of cookie cutter placing it in all these different things simply because there's a few of these elements involved. Maybe we're doing a lot more just calling things out because that's what we want versus what they really are. Because Ford Point this morning, here's the truth about revival. You can't identify revival in moments. It's measured over lifetimes. Here's what I've noticed in my short years of life here on earth is that moments draw people. All these different events that I've talked about have been moments that people have flocked to and have run to and wanted to be a part of it and go through some kind of emotion, right? Those things aren't bad necessarily. But moments, what we see is they draw people in. Revival, what it should do is send people out. And what I've come to grips with is, man, all these things that we have called revival, I think about right now, at this point in life, and think about where is the fruit from any one of these events. Right? I think about Billy Graham's been here twice, in the 50s and the 80s, and how is it that in 2025, Syracuse isn't kind of like some kind of epicenter of faith because of 2 Billy Graham revivals having been here in Syracuse? In fact, we can joke pretty regularly. Syracuse is like the Frozen Chosen. Syracuse is grumpy, old, angry people. And if those were really revivals, right, if that's really what was happening during those times, then I would think Syracuse would maybe look a little bit more like some of our southern friends than if it weren't for all the snow outside, I would think we're pretty close to HE double hockey stick because of the way people act and talk towards each other. How is it possible, though, with all the revivals that have taken place here? And it's because what we do is we take these snapshot moments where maybe people go through some motions, they sing some songs, they get baptized, and we take all these things and we say, man, that must be some revival happening. And we like to measure it in these moments that draw people in versus the true sign of revival is people being sent out and changing cultures over lifetimes. Because if it was just about moments, right, we wouldn't have ever really needed Jesus. Jesus kind of came onto the scene when John the Baptist was in the wilderness and he was just baptizing all sorts of people. He was doing a lot of the things that we would look at and say, oh man, there's revival happening. John the Baptist was leading some revival out in the wilderness. And Jesus comes onto the scene and he gets baptized. And then he goes out to then change the world. And you and I are here as products of Jesus and what he did for us on the cross. But it's a very interesting thing when you look at the Gospels and you look at the book of Acts, is that the baptism encounter is in 3 of the 4 Gospels. But do you know what's in every single one of the Gospels? The crucifixion. Right? The Great Commission is in all 4 of the Gospels. Right? There's a little bit more to just following Jesus, a little bit more important than just being baptized. Those things are important, and it's a mark of our faith. But we've taken a lot of these actions that we go through that they're supposed to be marks and kind of tells of our faith, and elevated them to a level beyond the things that we see in the Gospels over and over as important, like the crucifixion, the Great Commission, going and changing the world. So how do we get here? Because remember, fourth point, you will get whatever your goal is, whatever you're trying to achieve. For some people, it's more people. So there's some churches that is what they feel is healthy, is that there's more people there the next week than there were the previous week. So they consider themselves healthy because there's more and more people. It doesn't matter that most of their people are getting divorced or aren't spending their money as far as how God would want them to use their money. It doesn't really matter the condition of the people. All that matters is that there's more people. And we would say, man, this is one of the fastest growing churches. But the people are a mess. But because that's your goal, that's what you're going to look for and strive for and achieve. For other people, it's giving. Man, our goal is that people would be generous givers. So there's some places where they just talk about giving like there's nothing else. As long as there's more in the offering this week than was the week before and then the year before, then we're a healthy church. It doesn't matter that people aren't getting together in life groups or are serving. They're just giving all sorts of money because that's what they've deemed as being a sign of true health. And they've elevated it. And it looks like, their stage is awesome, their building is awesome, but again, people aren't leveling up in their faith. For other places, it's baptisms. Man, they feel like baptism is the ultimate sign of health. So they're offering baptism services on a monthly basis, maybe even a weekly basis. And over the course of the year, man, we have more baptism this year than the year before. And it's the same thing, for some of it, it's, man, we baptized the same person, 6 out of the 12 times this year. Again, the people's lives are crazy. They're still walking and getting divorced or committing adultery, doing all these things, but they're getting baptized. And from the outside, we would say, man, there's such a move of God going on. There's revival happening here because of all of our baptisms. There's all sorts of different ways that we've used to describe leveling up that maybe aren't quite what they're cracked up to be. For me, growing up, I've always heard, and being in ministry, there is this phrase that's taken out of the New Testament about, man, you know that it's a real healthy church when they're giving you the meat, right? You ever heard that expression? Man, I go here because, man, they don't water it down. They give you the meat, right? It's this idea that it's like they're going deep into the book of Revelations and all of these, Greek meanings and definitions and making you understand and learn things that the normal Christian doesn't know. A lot of times I have conversations with people and they talk about why they left a different church, and they said, yeah, I wasn't getting the meat there, right? It's this idea that the preaching, the talking, like they just weren't on my level in my spiritual maturity. So I had to go find some other place that was. I need the meat, right? I need, and to drink milk, oftentimes is described as being kind of this immature place in life, where you're just, watering things down. If we used our chart here, we would say that, the meat is when you get into this challenge area, right? It's hard. It's the thing that only super spiritual people can get to. And the milk is like, oh, man, this invitation place where making things easy and you water down. And that's what I heard as a young person, and that's what I've seen often many times over and over again. But here's a principle this morning, Forward Point, is that meat does not equal deeper understanding, greater revelation, better doctrinal stance, right? Here's the truth about meat. Spiritual leveling up is not replacing milk with meat. It's adding it to the meal. It's not just graduating to the place where you leave milk behind and getting to this place where now you're super spiritual, but it's this place in life that we get to where we're adding it as a part of our diet, leveling up. It doesn't mean we abandon milk. It doesn't mean that, if you're still drinking milk, that you're some kind of less mature Christian. And today what we want to do is continue on looking at Peter and some of the things that he has to say to us when it comes to growing in our faith. Last week we were in 2 Peter, and this week we're going to be looking at 1 Peter. And this is what he has to say in 1 Peter chapter 2. He says, this is what I want you to do. So clean house. Make a clean sweep of, and make sure you underline these things or highlight them like I do. These are things that in basic faith you should be removing from your life, right? He says to get rid of malice and pretense, get rid of envy and hurtful talk. He says, you've had a taste of God, right? Something happened where you experienced God in relationship. You get a taste. So now these things you should want to remove from your life. Now, like infants, and this is key, like infants at the breast, drink deep of God's pure kindness. Then you'll grow up and mature whole in God. He says taste, right? Taste does not equal the entire meal. But he says taste. Because often we equate it with the entire meal because that's what introduced us, right? Whatever it was for you that kind of introduced you to God and faith. More often than not, we think that's all of faith. That's the entire world. But it's just a small sliver, a small part that you experienced. And the way that you experienced, for some of you, it may have been somebody's preaching. So now you always, you want to make sure that you have good preaching wherever you go and wherever you're committed to. Or you're constantly sending other people messages that you find on YouTube, and you're like, just watch this. And you think it's going to change their life because it changed your life. And they're like, stop texting me. Send these to someone else. I don't want them, right? But you're just thinking, oh, they can't handle the meat. They're just baby Christians. Or maybe it's music. You came because of some kind of music experience. The band was awesome, and you got shivers as you heard it, and you felt like you experienced God that way. So now you're just like, man, why doesn't everybody just come to the music events and experience God the way that I do? They must still be on milk because they can't do it like I do. And we take this one little itsy-bitsy part that feels like our entire world, and we think it should be everybody's entire world. Right? Milk. And Paul says this, he says, but for right now, kind of in contrast, he says, friends, I'm completely frustrated by your unspiritual dealings with each other and with God. You're acting like infants in relation to Christ, capable of nothing much more than nursing at the breast. And it kind of feels like this, Peter saying, hey, drink the milk is good. And Paul saying, man, you guys are stuck on the milk, get away from the milk. And it feels like they're in contradiction to each other. But Peter points out, he says, through this milk, then you'll grow up mature and whole in God. You see, because 4-point growth is not more of what got you to where you are. We talked about that last week, right? What got you to where you are will not get you to where you're called. More of what got you to where you are will not take you to where God has called you. What got you to that spot? Growth is not the replacement of milk in your spiritual walk, in leveling up, in your spiritual diet. But it's the addition of meat. It's the leveling up. You see, for you to grow, for me to grow, whatever got you to where you are at, what got me to where I'm at today, is actually got to become less. In order for the full buffet of things that God has for us to increase in our life. But we have a lot of people who have been years in their faith that have not leveled up because they just want this one little area that turn them on to God. It's a good thing in and of itself. But the heart is just for that one area to just grow and become bigger and better. When there's a whole buffet of other things that God wants to introduce you to so that you can level up. Because remember, it becomes less about you and more about what you can do for the world around you. So we got a lot of people who are really jacked up in one small sliver of spiritual discipline in their life. There's this one movie by M. Night Shyamalan, who's kind of a suspenseful guy, and I love his movies, and this one movie is called Lady in the Water. And there's this one character in the movie where all he does is he just works out one side of his body. So his right side of his body is all buff, his arm, and this other is just wimpy, and he looks super freaky. Because for some reason in his mind, all he's decided to do is, I'm just going to work out my one side of my body and neglect the other side. And as weird and as freaky as he looks, that represents most Christians today, is just choosing to work out this one side, this one aspect of our spiritual life. And he says, then you'll grow up mature, whole in God. Jesus said, I must decrease so that he can increase. Because at the time, there was a whole lot of people who were just hooked on Jesus. Man, we need Jesus. And it even sounds kind of weird saying it that way, but Jesus knew that you can't be hooked on me physically here on earth. You disciples, followers, it's got to be so much more to you than just my presence here on this planet. In fact, I have to decrease. This relationship you have with me, this spiritual discipline you have of following me, it got you to where you are, but it will not take you where I need you to be to change the world. I must decrease. And God has to increase. And there's so much more to God than this one sliver of spiritual aspect that you're seeing. So Paul says, you're capable of nothing much more than nursing at the breasts. And he goes on, he says, well then, I'll nurse you since you don't seem capable of anything more. He says, as long as you grab for whatever makes you feel good or makes you look important. And when I read that, I thought, man, what could describe us as human beings better than this idea of grabbing for what makes us feel good or makes us look important? That probably is the underlying motive for a lot of the things that we do in life, for a lot of things we see other people do in life. Are you really much different than a babe at the breast, content only when everything is going your way? But Peter, again, he says, you've had a taste of God. Now, like infants at the breast, drink deep of God's pure kindness. And that's the basic faith that he talks about here. He says, to your basic faith that we looked at last week, right? This is the malice, getting rid of malice, getting rid of pretense, getting rid of envy, getting rid of hurtful talk. These things are basic faith. And he says, to your basic faith, remember last week, I want you to add good character, spiritual understanding, alert discipline, passionate patience, reverent wonder, warm friendliness, and generous love. Now, you should look at that list and you should feel kind of overwhelmed because there's a good chance that you got one of these things really well done. And you probably even pride yourself on that one, but you're the one-armed workout guy. And there's a whole half of you that is super buff. But as cool as that half of you makes you feel, to the rest of us, we see the other half, and we think it makes you look ridiculous. Because you're so unbalanced. You're so out of whack. And Peter says, man, you got to have all these things added to your basic faith. Having milk, Forward Point, is not the problem in our culture. Having more milk than meat is the problem. Right? If you're content, if you are searching for the watered down things, the easy things, if you're constantly trying to just stay in this invitational, like that's an important first step and strategy, and a lot of you came maybe to faith because of that. But if you just stay there, if you have more of that going on in your life, then you are not making the progress towards leveling up in your life. You've chosen to not take steps towards leveling up. You got some aspect of you that is super jacked up on steroids, spiritual roids. But to everyone else looking at you, we see the imbalance. We see you out of whack and things are imbalanced. It's not that invitation is wrong. You could go some places today and they'll tell you, man, you water it down, you make it easy for people, you're invitational, then you're, of the devil. There's some places that would tell you that. It's not that invitation is wrong though, Ford Point. But more invitation than challenge means that you're not growing. It means that you're not leveling up. And it will be your challenge. Whatever it is that is causing you to work your faith muscles, it will be that challenge in your life that God uses for somebody else's invitation more so than your invitation. Right? Whatever it was for you that made God like this thing that you wanted to have a relationship with and commit your life to is some kind of experience. Maybe it was music, maybe it was somebody's words, maybe it was an outreach event, right? Something that for you made all the difference. What we do is we think that's going to be what it is for everybody else that I come in contact with, and it's not the case. What's going to be used in your life to reach other people is the challenge in your life. Is when you get to this hard part of your life, maybe a relationship breaks, maybe you go through bankruptcy, the worst case scenario of some kind of area that your life that God is going to bring you through. It's going to be that pain, that suffering, that hurt, that constant struggle that will be the thing that in someone else's life acts like an invitation as you are just open and vulnerable with the process that's happened in your life. Right? That's real meat, putting into practice when it's hard, when it's tough, when it's ugly, when it doesn't look good. It's not that milk is bad. That has kind of become the spiritual doctrine of our day. It's that you add meat to the menu and to the meal. Peter says, I don't want you ever to forget the milk. You should always have whatever it is, the music, the message, like those things, keep as a part of your life, sure. But as part of a well-balanced diet, you've got to add these other areas. You've got to pursue the things that don't come natural to you. You got to pursue the things that are hard and painful and kind of maybe dig up some things in your life that are just much better to just leave walled up deep inside of you. That is true leveling up, what Peter and Paul are telling us together. It will be your meat, the hard stuff that is someone else's milk. But more often than not, Ford Point, we stay stuck. And we think that it's the milk, right? The easy part, the invitational part of our life that will be the same thing for somebody else. And I got to believe that maybe we're at 2025 after having some of the greatest quote-unquote revivals come through the Northeast with Billy Graham and beyond with even other people in history. And what we've done is we've taken these moments and tried to suck the life out of these individual moments, to try to relive these moments, to go back to these moments, when instead God is looking to do what I believe is something else in our lives in terms of leveling up. Something new, something that he's never done before, but he can't do that with all of us looking back, wondering when are we going to see the fruit from 1953, from 1989. And God said, man, those things are awesome. Those things are great in and of themselves, but I wanted to do something in your life. And unless you let go of everything that you hold on so tightly, unless you let go of all the ways that you think it should be done, the plans, the processes, the formulas, unless you just let go, and allow me to do something like I did in the book of Acts that had never been seen before, never been done before. But he began to undermine at Pentecost what he had done at the Tower of Babel. And I believe in this frozen tundra of the Northeast that God can do some things that we've never seen before. If we make it a point to say, you know what, God, we're going to give you this morning that thing that we're holding on to, that aspect of our faith that we just have built our entire relationship around you. That one side of our body that we just been working at this morning, we're going to lay it down, we're going to give it to you and trust you to give it back to us when we're ready. But we're going to lay it down for you to start to work in some of these other areas of our life. Not even so much for our own benefit, but because through those things, you're wanting to reach the people in my world. Because Forward Point, if God wanted to use that one thing that you just go back to over and over and over again in your life to reach the people in your life, don't you think it would have happened by now? You've been doing it for weeks and months and years, and you're still kind of just walking around doing the same song and dance. Don't you think it would have happened by now? But it's because that thing that means so much to us, that played such a part of our spiritual discipleship, has actually now become the lid that we just can't get over because we refuse to let it go. And this morning is an invitation for you to let it go and to step out into some of these other things that Peter and Paul have been talking about. Man, that milk, it tastes great. Don't ever get rid of the milk, okay? But what's the meat that you're wrestling with, that you're trying to chew, that you're trying to tear? Or are you just content with where you're at? In my history, I've listened to people's stories, and they say, man, I'm just leaving this faith community because I need more meat. And truly what they're saying is they're actually leaving because they're still stuck on milk. Right? Well, what may have gotten them to that place is a really good message and going deep, and they may feel smarter, but to leave a body of believers and a faith community because you're looking for more meat is actually just to tell that you are still stuck on milk. And this morning is an invitation as we're going to respond, and we're going to sing some songs, and we're going to pray that God, in our spiritual journey to level up, is to put aside some milk. Not to say that the milk is bad or that it's never going to come back, but that we have been too focused on these aspects. And for each one of you, it's different. For me, it's different. But we have some kind of sliver, some kind of aspect of spirituality that we just have got stuck on because it's what we were exposed to, and it's because it's what we're familiar with. And this morning, in this journey of leveling up in our spiritual discipleship, God is asking us, inviting us, man, in the freaking outness of letting go of that, it's because he wants to go deeper with us. He wants to maybe expose some things in your life that are going to go farther than what you've been stuck on up to this point, but you just have been too afraid to let go of it. And this morning can be for you and can be for me a starting point. Can be for you and can be for me what I believe will be a place. Maybe for some of you, it's even just stepping into faith. You've gone to maybe different churches in your life, and it just kind of feels lifeless. And for the first time, you're feeling like, man, God has created you on purpose, for a purpose. And there is something that you're feeling inside that maybe you've never experienced for. It's, for all of us here, is an opportunity for a new life and a new level. Would you level up this morning? God, we are so grateful that you make things so simple. But God, we are so sorry for the way that we complicate things. God, we are so sorry for the way that we point and we assume and we, with such confidence, say it's got to be done this way. That this is my way or this is the only way. And God, our worlds have become so small. So our spiritual worlds have become so small in one dimension that we still look like that first little Mario character from 1985. God, forgive us for slapping words like revival onto these moments because of how they make us feel. But God, afterwards, the fruit from them has not been seen because, God, we've started to use a system of measuring revival based on these moments versus over lifetimes. And God, we don't want to just work hard for awesome Sunday mornings where we have these awesome experiences and we make people feel all sorts of warm and fuzzies, but then people's lives are still falling apart. Our community around us is still falling apart. So God, help us trade in our religion this morning. Just going through the same motions we've always gone through. Help us trade in our religion this morning. Help us to accept the invitation this morning to respond to you as we sing these songs, that you would be invited to do a work in our hearts that for each one of us looks different, but it's a work that you can do because your Holy Spirit is, as you promised us, was going to come after you left to be able to do things in us and through us. But we've created all sorts of ceilings. Help us this morning to remove the ceilings from which we allow you to work in our lives and in essence, allow you to work in the lives of the world around us. Do a work in us this morning.
I keep fighting voices in my mind that say I'm not enough. Every single lie that tells me I will never measure up. Am I more than just the sum of every high and every low? Remind me once again just who I am, because I need to know. Ooh, you say I am loved when I can't feel a thing. You say I am strong when I think I am weak. You say I am held when I am falling short, and when I don't belong. Oh, you say I am yours. feet. You'll have every failure, God. You'll have every victory. Ooh, you say I am loved when I can't feel a thing. You say I am strong when I think I am weak. You say I am held when I am fallen short. And when I don't belong, oh, you say I am yours. You say I am loved when I can't feel a thing. You say I am strong when I think I am weak. You say I am held when I am falling short. And when I don't belong, oh, you say I am yours. And I believe, oh, I believe what you say of me. I believe, oh, I believe, yes, I believe what you say of me. I believe.
I'll never be more loved than I am right now. Wasn't holding you up, so there's nothing I can do to let you down. It doesn't take a trophy to make you proud. I'll never be more loved than I am right now.
Going through a storm, but I won't go down. I hear your voice carried in the rhythm of the wind to call me out. You would cross an ocean so I wouldn't drown. You've never been closer than you are right now. You are Jireh. You are enough. Jireh, you are enough. And I will be content in every circumstance. Jireh, you are enough. Forever enough, always enough, more than enough. Forever enough, always enough, more than enough. I don't wanna forget how I feel right now on the mountaintop. I can see it so clear what it's all about.
Stay by my side when the sun goes down. Don't wanna forget how I feel right now. Jireh, Jireh, you are enough. Jireh, you are enough. And I will be content in every circumstance. Jireh, you are enough. Forever enough, always enough, more than enough. Forever enough, always enough, more than enough. I'm already loved. I'm already chosen. I know who I am. I know what you've spoken. I'm already loved more than I can imagine. And that is enough for you are Jireh. You are enough. Jireh, you are enough. And I will be
in every circumstance. Jireh, you are enough.
Praise in the valley.
Praise in the valley, praise on the mountain. I'll praise when I'm sure, praise when I'm doubting.
Sing with us. I'll praise.
I'll praise when outnumbered, praise when surrounded. 'Cause praise is the water my enemies drowning. As long as I'm breathing, I've got a reason to praise the Lord, oh my soul. Praise the Lord, oh my soul. I praise when I feel it, praise when I don't. I'll praise 'cause I know you're still in control.
'Cause my praise.
My praise is a weapon, it's more than a sound. My praise is the shout that brings Jericho down.
As long
As I'm breathing, I've got a reason to praise the Lord, oh my soul. Praise the Lord, oh my soul. I won't be quiet, my God is alive. How could I keep it inside? Praise, praise the Lord, oh my soul.
I'll praise.
I'll praise 'cause you're sovereign, praise 'cause you reign, praise 'cause you rose and defeated the grave. I'll praise 'cause you're faithful, praise 'cause you're true, praise 'cause there's nobody greater than you. Praise the Lord, oh my soul. Praise the Lord, oh my soul. I won't be quiet, my God is alive. How could I keep it inside? I won't be quiet, my God is alive. How could I keep it inside? Praise the Lord, oh my soul.
Before I call, before I ever cry, you answer me from where the thunder hides. I can't outrun this heart I'm tethered to. With every step, I collide with you. Like a tidal wave crashing over me, rushing into me. Your love is fierce, like a hurricane that I can't escape, tearing through the atmosphere. Your love is fierce. Your love is fierce. You cannot fail. You cannot fail. The only thing I found 'cause through it all, you never let me down. You don't hold back, relentless in pursuit. You never turn, I come face to face with you. Let me hear ya. Like a tidal wave crashing over me, rushing into me. Your love is fierce, like a hurricane that I can't escape, tearing through the hemisphere. Your love is fierce, like a tidal wave crashing over me, rushing into me. Your love is fierce, like a hurricane that I can't escape, tearing through the hemisphere. Your love is fierce. Your love is fierce. Chase me down. Chase me down. You seek me out. How could I be lost when you have called me found? You chase me down. You seek me out. How could I be lost when you have called me found? You chase me down. You seek me out. How could I be lost when you have called me found? You chase me down. You seek me out. How could I be lost when you have called me found? Like a tidal wave crashing over me, rushing into me. Your love is fierce, like a hurricane that I can't escape, tearing through the hemisphere. Your love is fierce, like a tidal wave crashing over me, rushing into me. Your love is fierce, like a hurricane that I can't escape, tearing through the hemisphere. Your love is fierce. Your love is fierce. Oh, your love is fierce. Your love is fierce.
We just want to thank you again for joining us this morning. If you haven't had the chance and you're newer here, please don't forget to text the word welcome to 315-883-2213. Download the Church Center app, all of the different forms of social media.
Absolutely. Here at Fort Point, we kind of believe in having a joyous life and all that entails spiritually, mentally, emotionally. One of those ways that you can actually live a generous life is by the support that you give, either by talents, financially, giving back into something that's a little bit bigger than yourself. Here at Fort Point, if you believe in those things and that's something that you really want to invest in, we have 4 ways that you can do that. You can give in person. There's a Joy Box that's located right behind me, behind you guys, right by the door. You can do it by texting any amount to 84321. You can do it on the Church Center app, as we said in the beginning of the gathering, or you can give at www.fordpoint.org/give.
I know we joked about those special people that vote for salary, but honestly, guys, if there is something heavy on your heart this morning, even like a praise report you want to share with someone, we do have our prayer team back in the corner. They are confidential. They will pray with you and stand in that gap to help you out this morning.
Absolutely. And if you do have time today, if you can help us get this Palace Theater up and running to where it needs to be for other events during the week, we can definitely use the hands and the help. Many hands make a light work. You can meet us right outside these doors. There's a closet there. Somebody can tell you exactly what we need.
And we do love our kids here at Ford Point, but we don't want to take them home if they're not ours. So please, before you leave here this morning, don't forget to run upstairs, grab your kids, and we want to thank you again for joining us for this week's gathering.
We love you guys.